Welcome to this week's episode of Listen to Your Coaches. I'm your coach, Mike Wilkins, here with Coach Will Morrill. And behind the scenes, we got a young Max Gerald producing this show. This week, we're going to talk UFC Fight Pass Invitational, the most recent fight night, the things that went down at it, and then probably the upcoming UFC 316. That's UFC 316? Is that the Merab O'Malley?
Yep.
And then Pena and Kayla? Okay, cool. Yeah, we might get into some other fun stuff too. But we'll see how that rocks. We go. All right, so UFC Fight Pass Invitational. All right, I'm gonna gloss over some things. Number one, performance of the night: William Tackett over Achilles Rocha. That was just incredible. What an amazing performance! But we got to get into what we want to talk about. We want to talk about Ffion versus Adele. Okay, so what happened was I came over today and I was like, boys, we got to watch this match because neither of these dudes, if there's no punches and kicks involved, they're not going to watch. All right. So I made them watch the match. We watched it and I had them score it live because there's some controversy over the scoring, over who won the match, la-di-da-da, and things like that. And one of the big things I think it highlights is just how terrible scoring systems can be for things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like, how can we get closer to making sure the right person wins when it gets down to decision? That's what you want to do. And
that the reaction of like fans and whoever immediately doesn't always necessarily mean it's right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm just thinking about the Gon Volkov fight and everyone's like, oh, Volkov clearly won. It's like, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, back onto this match.
All right. So, in this highly contested match between probably the two best Nogi women's jiu-jitsu athletes, Ffion has been holding the number one spot down for quite some time. But at the most recent ADCC, Adele Fornarino, she won the inaugural 55 kilogram division. That's 121 pounds. And then she went on to win the absolute division, which is open weight, right? Mm-hmm. So for ADCC, the women's weight classes, this was the first year for them having three. Well, this past ADCC was the first ADCC for them having three weight classes. And the weight classes were as follows: 55 kilos, 65 kilos, and then 65 plus. Mm-hmm. So anything above it. And to convert that into, American units, that's 121 pounds, 143 and a half pounds, and then anything heavier than that. So Adele won the lightest weight class and then proceeded to go win the open weight class. Yeah, so super badass. So like right after that, it's like, okay, that's the match to make. And it's like, all right, well, Ffion wasn't in ADCC because she opted out to try to progress fighter pay and went to the Craig Jones Invitational, where she took a super fight match against Mackenzie Dern, right? So finally, this match actually was originally supposed to go down March 6th on the last UFC Fight Pass Invitational. Right. Had a big watch party for it and everything, but unfortunately, I can't remember which one of these women, but one of them was injured, so the fight was unable to take place at that time, but it was postponed to this date, and it finally goes down, and it goes down with some pretty legit controversy here. So the final score. So let's talk about the scoring system real quick. So the Fight Pass Invitational has used this is now at least their third different scoring system that they've used. Mm-hmm. Okay, in the past they have straight up done ADCC rules. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is like pretty cool, but they were like way heavy on the negatives, and I felt like people weren't
implemented well.
Yeah, they weren't implemented well, and like the ADCC scoring system has some gripes in it itself. So what they ended up doing was kind of doing like a modified ADCC scoring system where they did like, let's say like it was like a main match, right? Like on the main card, it'd be like an 8-minute sub only period, in which if you did penalty things, you could get negative points that would carry into the overtime, and then a 4-minute overtime in which points were then scored, right? So you couldn't score any positive points in the 8-minute sub only period, but like let's say you were stalling, they could penalize you, and those penalties would carry. Right. They would follow you into the overtime, so you might go into the overtime already down like two penalties.
Right.
And I thought that was doing pretty well. And then on this one, they decided to implement the 10-point must system. Okay. So MMA's scoring system. All right. And I think that that's just not a great way to score grappling. Okay.
100%.
So Max, make sure your mic's ready to rock. You guys are both heavily involved in mixed martial arts, watching mixed martial arts, competing and coaching mixed martial arts. And I've been involved in the sport as well. I had my first fight in 2007. So I've been in the sport for quite some time. And a story as old as time is how the 10-point must system sucks.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's a common complaint. Will, can you corroborate that?
100%.
Yeah. How long have you been hearing, like, this is not a great scoring system for judging fights?
As long as I've been in MMA.
Max is younger. Max is 21 years old. He's probably been watching MMA. How old were you when you started watching MMA, Max, you think? You had to take a guess.
I started watching in 2020.
Okay, in 2020, so Max has only been watching for 5 years. However, in those 5 years, he has consumed quite a bit of MMA.
Yeah, he's caught up a good bit.
Yeah. Max, have you heard about people having a beef with the 10-point must system?
Yeah, that's one of the first things I heard was how terrible this 10-point must system was and how they brought it over from boxing and it doesn't make sense. Yeah,
it's hard to use it in like a grappling sense.
I don't even like it in boxing.
Yeah, you know, I think it is a little better in just a striking art, like, you know, but when you add in like grappling exchanges, it's like, how do you differentiate like how much is worth what? And like, you know, like, so you're telling me that like if I like pass your guard and take your back, I win that fight, I win that round 10-9, but also if I just, you know, hold you against the fence for a little bit, I also win that 10-9. So that's worth the same.
Right.
Like like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a little bit weird. So what happened was in August, the CJI opted to use the 10-point must system, and their rationale was that MMA fans are already accustomed to it. So the rationale was to take arguably the worst part of MMA and use that to attract fans or bring fans in or make fans be able to understand the scoring a little bit better. Okay. Now it's to be noted, they went with open scoring, meaning at the end of the round, when you go back to your corner for your little swig of water or whatever, the scores are announced. So you get an idea of what's going down, right? You're like, okay, I won that round. They must value this. Okay, I lost that round. They might value that. Things of that nature, which, you know, I also am not a fan of. Like, I don't want to have to learn what matters in the middle of the competition. Because then it makes the first round about learning what's going on, and then the second and third round about the action, instead of the entire, you know, combat time for the action. So, you know, there was an open scoring system, and I would say that for the CJI tournament, although there were some complaints over who won, or some disagreements on who won Cade Rotolo versus Andrew Tackett, and some different disagreements on who won between Cade Rotolo and Levi Jones-Leary, ultimately, the matches proceeded as such where there wasn't like an exposure of the weakness of the 10-point must system, right? So what we had was two 16-man brackets. Okay, that's 15 matches each. All right, go down without having a match that really exposed the weakness. And then we had was it just, I think it might have just been two super fights. Yeah. Yes. Craig and Gabby, and then Ffion and Mackenzie, which both, you know, ended in submission.
No, not Craig. But
no, it ended up being a decision. Okay, yeah. But still, it was kind of like,
it
was kind of a goof fight.
Right.
But so it didn't really expose it. But now, you know, we're going to bring this to the UFC Fight Pass invitation. We're not going to do it open scoring. Okay. And we're going to see now some flaws in the 10-point must system for grappling. All right. Guys, do you have anything to weigh in?
Yeah, a couple things. I think one, I am, despite the fact that it is a problem in the way CJI maybe implemented it, I am in general a fan of open scoring across combat sports. It's kind of like a rule of thumb. I think the real problem with CJI, like you were saying, and I mean just fight sports in general, is a lack of clarity about the criteria. You know what I mean? So, and you're making good examples of this with like grappling versus striking when those are together in MMA. So it's like, you know, if I crack you and you're stumbled and like, you know, like clearly hurt, but then you blast a double on me and take my back, and that's halfway through the round, and it's like, well, how do you score that round? You know what I mean? Like, which one's worth more? Which one was closer to ending the fight? Which, you know what I mean? And there are some clarities, or, you know, the clarifications within the MMA rule set where it's like, immediate damage is valued more than cumulative damage. You know what I mean? And if the effective striking and grappling, which is the first criteria, is even, then you move on to the second criteria, which is, I forget, aggression or cage control or whatever it is. But in grappling, like I just asked you during this match, I was like, oh wait, well, what's the criteria? And you're like, whatever you think it is.
It was their opinions on the rounds. Now, in some sense, you can kind of take that, and it's kind of slightly easier to judge in that sense, because so for example, let's say you're watching one 5-minute round, and as a judge, what you could be asked to do is okay, score that 5-minute round as if that was the match and you were going to grant a winner of that match.
Right.
A referee's decision. And you could be like, okay, after round 1,
yes,
I thought, it was super close, but I thought Will did a little more. So if I had to give a ref decision, I give it to Will. And since that was the case, then 10-9 Will.
No, I like what you just said right there. He did a little more. And that's where it gets into what I believe these rounds should be scored as, which is who is on offense, right? And, you were making some really good points when we were watching it about how jiu-jitsu is not the same as MMA. So in MMA, if you're on top, you're essentially winning.
Yes.
And it's not the same there. And that's why during that first round, you're like, who won? And in my head, I was like, okay, my bias as an MMA coach is if you're on top, you're winning. And I know that's not how jiu-jitsu is. So let me swing the other direction. I was like, oh, well, I guess,
So I do think that's what both you and Max did initially, was okay, well, this is jiu-jitsu. So I feel like you swung
too far the other direction. And also, I didn't know what happened, but you said there was controversy, so I was like, oh, let me put myself in a jiu-jitsu headspace. But then when you actually broke it down, I thought about something Randy told us about AGF when he came on the pod to
That's
talk
Coach
about
Randy
that.
Riavial.
Randy's the man. And he said that they count a catch, which they do under the one rules, which we can talk about those later. I like those. As Randy was saying, they define it as getting to a point where there's no extra steps to finish a submission. And I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. And so even though, Adele in that first round is throwing her legs up or popping her hips out or whatever, she never truly threatened. She was never got to that point. And I was like, okay, under those circumstances, it's she was working towards offense, but it wasn't effective offense. And you know what was effective offense was, it's hard to say effective because she didn't actually pass, but Ffion was attacking the guard, and she was on offense for a larger period of time.
Right.
So in my mind, that gives her the round.
So okay. Now we're getting into score. Should we run down and score it the way we scored it, or should I just obliterate these rules real quick?
Oh, dude, blow through the rules because
All right, so we're gonna leave the scoring aside, and maybe we'll touch on it. But the scoring of the Ffion versus Adele match. But one thing that Max said while watching it was well, what about that she couldn't pass her knee shield? She tried passing that knee shield the entire round and couldn't pass it. And to me, I took that as Max being oh, that was really good for Adele. Ffion wasn't able to pass her knee shield for the entire round. And then I would pose the question back and be she was trying to pass her knee shield for the entire round.
And was that knee shield used for any offense?
No, right? That was a defensive maneuver. So it's being oh yeah, if we were in a wrestling match and I defended all your takedowns, right? That's great. But did I get any takedowns?
And we've seen that a lot recently in the MMA community where people are
yeah,
so-and-so defended all these takedowns this round.
He defended 6 takedowns this round. That should win him the round. I disagree. I actually think the guy who shot 6 takedowns
100%.
Won that round with everything else being equal.
And also think about it. If someone gets a takedown and then the other guy pops back up, they go oh, well, he didn't do anything with that takedown. When it's okay, well, what did he do with the takedown defense? You know what I mean? Did he Travis Brown him and really hurt him in it? You know what I mean? No, if
you're making great points.
If one guy shot and the other guy defended, the guy who shot is winning. It's just offense, defense. In my mind, it should be that objective.
So if I were to score that first round, I did give that round to Ffion, and I would say it was super close. And if you gave it to Adele, I could understand with you, but if I were to explain myself on why I gave that round to Ffion, I just felt like she was the one making the action,
She was the aggressor.
There were some moments where she was going like arm saddle, like throwing over, like if you were going to enter into a Choi bar.
Right.
And like, that is an offensive movement, right? So that's definitely something that I'd be like, oh, there goes an
Right.
offensive movement, which makes it hard to score because there were offensive movements on both ends. But just like, you know what I'm saying? Like the way that I use the example of judging like you, I was like, yeah, a little bit more. So I would give that 10-9 to Ffion. All right. And then we moved to the second round. And in the second round, it was a lot of the same as the first round, except Adele had a very serious bite on an ankle lock that was for sure a legitimate catch.
Right. There were no extra steps needed.
Yes. Now, since it was a legitimate catch, which we'll get into one scoring roles and like why I have some like.
It's not a perfect system.
Not
but
a perfect
I
system.
like it.
And why I have some holes to expose in that. But the rest of that round was a lot of battle between maintaining a solid guard position and attempted knee cuts and flanking passing and certain pressures, mixed in with some still looking for an arm saddle and things like that. So, I mean, I had to give that second round to Adele.
Yeah.
Right? So now in my score, it's 19-19, right? And then we go to the third round. And I thought the third round pretty much mirrored the first round, except I actually felt like Ffion even upped the pace even more.
I agree.
So I went 10-9 Ffion. So under the 10-point must system, I scored that match 29-28 for Ffion.
Agreed.
All right? You also scored it 29-28 for Ffion. Max, what was your ultimate score?
In the end, I would have gone 29-28 Ffion.
Okay, right.
With the stipulation, like you said, that first round was close.
Now,
which would have only put it to 29-28 for Adele. If
right, that as
happen.
well. That as well. Now, if this was wrestled under or wrestled,
grappled or whatever,
grappled under the one championships rule set, Adele wins.
Theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically, she had the catch.
Do they do it based off just catch? I thought it was as a whole, and the catches were just like announced and factored in. How
So
the
that's
saw
what I
fit.
wanted to get into, poke some holes at the one. So maybe it's a misunderstanding of me on it. But like I felt like you felt like a catch was like a point. So if I have a catch, now I'm up 1-0.
I don't
and
think
if you
that's
don't
how
get
it
a catch,
works.
you can't even it up.
I'm pretty sure it's, and I could be wrong on this. Maybe Max, if you pull up the one grappling criteria or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they judge the whole thing as, one big, whole round, because it is just one 10-minute round, which I like that too. Actually, we can talk about that later. And a catch is basically said for like the judges and the fans to know, like, hey, this
Right.
got to that point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now I could be wrong. It could be like you said, like, oh, that's a point. That means that then
Right.
Adele
Yeah. I mean,
won.
I certainly don't know, but that was like an interpretation I could see people saying, like, well, he got a catch. And it's like, can that be overcome with positional?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you
I
know
don't
what I mean? Or do you have to now get another catch? It's like kind of like this, like in boxing, if I drop you, like I'm getting a 10-8. You know what I mean? Unless you drop me back. So it's like, I was like, is a catch like that?
I don't know. To be honest. Decision wins. Okay, so that's the first criteria right there.
Yep. Scored by the number of catches. So it does
If there were equal number of catches or no catches,
So
athletes.
I was
determined-
correct.
Yep.
I was correct. If you get one catch,
Right.
the other person then
Then
does.
Adele would have won that.
Yep. Okay, so Adele would have won that under one criteria. Now, under whose number one criteria? Let me tell you guys about how whose number one operates. They do a 15-minute match, but they don't break between rounds.
Okay.
Right? So they do like 3. Now, what they do is after every 5 minutes, the judges raise a colored paddle on who they would pick to win right now. If you're
Okay.
like, match over, right? Like judge, it's straight up a judge's decision.
Right.
It's a submission or a judge's decision. And they just straight up, it's like, so after that clock starts at 15, it gets to 10 minutes. At 10 minutes, right? You hear judge's favor, red, right? And that means if the match ended right now, that's who they would pick. That is not round 1 to red.
Right.
Right? So for example, another 5 minutes go by, another 5 minutes left. Judge's favor, red. Right? That means that's who they'd pick to win if the match ended right.
And is
right now.
that including the first round, or
That's
is that or the first round?
It's
Got
it's the whole 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's like now after 10 minutes, we're favoring red.
Got it.
You know? But guess what? Now, so some MMA people might be like, oh, now blue needs to finish
Yeah.
because red's got 2, right?
Right.
No. Then at the end, the judges can still award the win to blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that makes a little more sense because you're judging it on a whole. And I think that does fit in to what people can really relate to, okay? So here goes what I want to get into. Imagine there was a football game, all right? A basketball game, a soccer match, a hockey game, okay? Whatever you want to use. Let's use football, okay? Let's say first quarter ends, Browns up 3-0 on the Steelers. Second quarter ends, Browns scored a touchdown that quarter. Browns up 10-0, all right? Third quarter ends, no score. Browns up 10-0. Or you know what? Let's give the Browns a field goal there too. Browns up 13-0. Fourth quarter, Steelers score 2 touchdowns. Successfully kick their 2 extra points, right? Well, under the 10-point must system, the Browns won that the Browns won that game.
Right.
Cuz they won 3 quarters to the Steelers 1 quarter, right? So, they would have won that. They would have won that game 39-37. That would have been the final score of that game using a 10-point must system. Because, you know what I'm saying? It didn't matter that the Steelers scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, right? To score more points than the Browns did the entire game. All that mattered was who won each individual quarter. And that's what's wrong with the 10-point must system.
Bro.
That's what's wrong with it right there.
Dude, that was genius. Also, it would be 40-20, whatever, but...
No, it wouldn't. It would be 39-37.
No, if it was 4 distinct things.
Max, hit him. It'd be 39-37.
Oh, 39.
Or maybe 39.
Sorry,
Yeah,
about the
39-37.
scores,
Yeah, I thought you said 30-27. My bad.
No, 39-37. Couldn't be 40. If they would have won all
you're
4
right. Then they
quarters,
would
it
have
would
won.
be 40. Yeah.
Dude, hold on. I was stuck on...
Stuck on how good of a metaphor that was?
Yes, dude, exactly.
I wasn't even gonna the way that you're. It's much better at math than I am. The way you just whip those numbers out, I was like, I'm not even gonna
Dude,
question
the numbers
that.
don't matter. What matters...
That math is right, by the way.
What matters is, dude, the comedy genius of the way you said if that was just a 10-point must system. Dude, I swear I'm the only one who knows how funny you actually are. We posted that clip of you being like, no, I was telling him and I was like Google Translate, and you're like, no. And I was like, body language, you're like, no, in Yinzer. And like, dude, that clip didn't do that well. I was like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard, bro.
You love that so much. You sent it to me. You loved it. I watched it. I didn't think it was that funny.
Dude, I watched it on repeat like 1,000 times. And like that moment right there, that made me laugh so hard. And I guarantee you everyone's gonna be like, yeah, so what? He said 10-point must system on football. But I don't know why that's just hilarious to me.
I think it paints a good picture.
It
right?
paints a great picture, dude. It's literally the perfect analogy. And I didn't think you were going to say it like that.
Yeah.
That's what made it so funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll get over my...
So to put it more in like a jiu-jitsu sense, okay? Let's say like you know, it just like it shows like deviation in the rules. Okay, so like let's say this. Let's say we're gonna do a match, Max. Okay, Max and I. All right, and in the first third of the match, okay, Max gets a takedown. Terrific, right? In the second third of the match, I sweep him, I pass his guard, and I take his back. All right? And then in the third third of the match, we get in a scramble, boom, boom, Max regains his guard, and he sweeps me. Mm-hmm. Okay? Nobody in the world would think Max won that match.
Right.
Nobody in the world. Think about it. Did you catch my analogy good? You catch that good?
Yeah,
Who do
I
you
got
think
you.
won that match, Max?
You probably looked more dominant throughout.
Probably looked more dominant. Well, let's talk about score set. Let's talk about roll
Yeah,
sets.
if it was
Who would have won?
IBJJF.
And who would have won? Mm-hmm. Okay, IBJJF, Fuji, Grappling Industries, AGF. AGF, well, ADCC is different.
It's different, but I still think it would be the same thing.
AGF, all right? So all those, like, you know, what most of your hobbyists are competing in, right? So what most jiu-jitsu practitioners are familiar with, right? Okay, like, Max, how many points is a takedown?
What, 3?
2.
Two.
2 in jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
Two.
in jiu-jitsu, I was
Yeah,
thinking
in
about
jiu-jitsu. We're
college
talking
wrestling.
jiu-jitsu, all
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Max, how many points is a sweep?
2.
2. Very good. Will, please help if you can. How many points is a guard pass?
I believe it's 1.
It's 3.
Oh, well, there you go.
My co-hosts suck. Did you know it was 3?
I was going to say 2.
Listen, you know this as someone who's coached me in jiu-jitsu tournaments.
How many
I'm just
points
going
is
for
a
finishes.
back take? That's 4. It's 4. It's 4. Wow, this is killing me. They are strikers.
You remember at the beginning when you said if it doesn't have punches and kicks, we didn't watch it?
Yep. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
All right. So under the rule set that most matches are competed under throughout the year, right? Because this is what the hobbyists are competing under. I have won that bout 9-4. All right. Fairly handily. 9-4. Okay. A takedown and a sweep. So that's 4 points for Max. A sweep, a pass, and a back take for me. And I'm the only one who got into a position in which like submissions are prevalent.
Likely, right?
Yeah, from the back, right? A position of dominance, right? We know side control, mount, and back are known as positions of dominance. Okay. So let's switch that rule set. Let's take it to a who's number one rule set. I win that match, right? Got to a position. Let's take it to a one championships rule set. I win that match. Let's take it to an ADCC rule set. Okay. Now it gets a little dicey. Max lost his takedown points because that happened in the sub-only period. And it kind of depends on, like, when did I score my points?
Yeah.
Right? Like, did I score them when points was on? Well, then I'm going to get 2 for the sweep, 3 for the pass, and 3 for the... Or 2 for the sweep, 2 for the pass, 2 for the back, 3 for the back. So it would have been 7-2. Or maybe I didn't get... Maybe my sweep didn't come. Whatever. But either way, I win that match.
Yeah.
Right? But under the 10-point must system... Max wins that match.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
It's the only rule set in which Max would win that match. Right? Doing what we all know is less and achieving what we all know is less, but having those achievements happen in the right times, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I like how you broke that down.
Yeah, I think the 10-point must system's a terrible rule set for
Grappling.
And especially if you're not doing open scoring, then why?
Yeah.
Then why? Like, so the rationale to using the 10-point must system is the MMA fans know what it is. They understand those decisions. And first off, let me tell you something. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. It's incredibly confusing for MMA, right?
Yep.
They don't. Okay. So, but if you're going to do it open scoring, not so like there's no difference in you telling us that it was 29-28 at the end of a match versus telling us it was red who won.
Yeah.
Because then you can just judge it as a whole fight. You can judge it as a whole match. If you're not going to tell us the score in between the rounds, then it makes no difference to the fan that you're judging it as a whole match or not. You know, just judge it as the whole match. And if you want the fans, like there was no open scoring. So at least in Who's Number One, right, where it's not judged round by round, they give the fans an idea. Hey guys, Blue's winning right now.
Yeah.
You
Also,
know?
if I remember correctly, they just announced a winner and showed the scores after, right?
Well, because it was a split, they go 29-28. Davis. They kept calling her Davis.
So they did announce it in that way.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, cool,
then 30-27 Fornarino. Yeah, which by the way, so now it's got me like, have I been saying her name wrong the whole time? I thought it was Ffion Davies, but they just were relentless.
We were just talking about it's like in one when they were like
Dante Leon. Yeah, Leon. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, have I been saying his name wrong this entire time? And now I'm still like concerned.
Right?
I don't know.
You gotta like go ask him. Hey, bro.
Yeah, I'm just not going to say his last name anymore. I mean, I guess I don't say his last name to him ever. If I see him, I'm like Dante. I'm not like, hey, Dante Leon. Like say his whole name. Hey, Max Gerald.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, that's my beef with the 10-point must system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, you guys hate it too. I would just like. I mean, like, is it too much to ask for people to just, like, understand that, like, you know, like, things are worth points, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can understand that with all our major sports. We understand that a goal, you know, is worth a point. We understand that a basket made within the 3-point arc is worth 2, and a basket made outside of the 3-point arc is worth 3, and that a free throw is worth 1. Right, we understand that a field goal is worth 3. Unless it's after a touchdown, then it's an extra point. And it's worth 1, and then we know that a touchdown is worth 6. Right, like it's not that crazy.
No, and especially in grappling sports where it's like it's pretty. I mean, obviously there's odd situations, but it's not as subjective as striking. You know what I mean? Like in grappling, you can say like that was a takedown or it wasn't, and you can have criteria for it. You know what I mean?
Not understanding the score or the rules to like the tiniest detail will not dissuade somebody from watching it, right? Like I watch football. I love football. I don't know all the rules to football. It's like a legal procedure. Dude, what is that?
How about
it's a bunch of things. I don't know what everything is on it.
I really enjoy watching hockey. I'm not even sure I could like very like accurately explain to someone who doesn't know anything
Explain
about
to
hockey.
me what offsides is in hockey.
Oh, okay. So that's when you got those two blue lines, right?
Okay.
And it is when the puck... Sorry, it is when one of the players passes that line before the puck does. Am I right?
I believe you're correct.
Okay.
But that is my understanding, who does not know hockey.
But that's a relatively easy thing to know.
Well, here goes the thing. Relatively easy thing to know. I think if you asked me when I was 15 years old, I wouldn't have known.
Oh, dude, no way I would have known. I didn't even like know anything about hockey until like, I don't know, like my mid-20s. I was like, oh, this sport's actually pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my point is, not knowing all the intricacies of hockey, I really enjoy watching hockey. It's one of the few team sports I'm like, this is really fun, you know? And I think that your point still stands because, like, I mean, think about how many times we've showed wrestling to someone. You know what I mean? And they're like, I don't really know what's going on. And, like, obviously you have to explain a couple things like, hey, man, in this situation, this guy's doing X, Y, and Z. But most of the time, people can still enjoy it to a degree, especially if they have somewhat of a combat sports background. Where the problem is in striking, because that's so subjective. You know what I mean? I land a jab, you land a jab. Which one had more like immediate effect? Well, I don't know. I looked frustrated. Does that mean that it hurt me more? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's really difficult to judge that. But in grappling, it's not that. You know what I mean?
We have very, very kind of apparent positional changes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think there's no reason you can't have a scoring system, and I think that's how it should be. And even if you do want to do it as rounds, why use 10-8? Or sorry, 10-9? Why not do what you've said forever is give points for doing well? Make it 1 point. You know what I mean? That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Or have multiple judges, so now it's 3 points. Or if it's close round, 2-1.
So I want to jump on the kind of like the example that I gave for the scoring, and I could see an argument made for it. Well, then why wouldn't you give me a 10-8 round for that second round where I got a sweep, a pass, and a back take? Right? Could you see an argument for that being a 10-8 round then if you want to use a 10-point must system?
So again, it depends exactly how we're defining a 10-8. In my opinion, in the MMA world, what gives you a 10-8 is you were close to finishing the fight. Like there's a point where like if the ref hopped in, no one would be like, that wasn't like, you know what I mean? So in that situation, using your example, we didn't get to that point. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, let's say I had a strangle on from the back too. And you know,
it was in pretty deep and he squirmed out.
Okay. So 10-8, right? Well, if that is your argument that should be scored at 10-8, let me tell you how bad that is still. Because guess what? That match is now a draw.
Right.
I mean, it's still it changes that the wrong person won.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's even more dominant on your part, and you still should have won.
Yeah.
But now you just don't lose.
Yeah. Now I don't lose. So So I'm out on the 10-point must system for jiu-jitsu, and I don't think CJI is going to be running a 10-point must system now.
I don't know.
They're using quintet rules, so it's either you submit them or you draw.
Oh, that's right. Oh, okay.
Like if me and you are going and neither of us submit the other one, we are both out.
Oh, that's how the draw. That makes sense.
Yeah. We draw, so we both get removed. Then it moves on to the next person. So, like for example, let's say like I submit you, and then I go into the second person, and then everybody draws the rest of the way out. My team's going to win because we'll have one person left at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
So
let me ask you this:
so there's no need for a scoring system in that.
Do the teams know the other guy's order, or they don't? That's part of the strategy.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think the order might be announced, but I don't think you get to know the other team's order before setting your order. And I think you have to turn your order in.
Got it. Okay.
So like orders are preset. Like I don't know what yours is, you don't know what mine is, but we turn them in, and now they're set.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're set. So now we get to know, and I'm like, damn, dude, your order's better.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're gonna draw me out here, sub me there, and then draw me out the rest of the way. Yeah. So whatever, 10-point must system, I'm out on it. Let's move on.
Let's
move on. UFC Fight Night this past weekend had some crazy happenings on it. Let's start. You guys want to start with the Gamrot fight, or do you? Oh, you didn't watch it.
I didn't. I was at a
It was impressive.
football fundraiser, an Irish football fundraiser.
Is that what you were? Was I saw that picture of you and Aaron?
I'll tell you about that later. I got.
Was that not at the football
Yeah,
fundraiser?
it was.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So, oh, by the way, I put bet in on this. I have a bet in on this. I bet
did.
I put all my units on Gamrot.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you can go check the DraftKings.
I put one on Gamrot.
We all share our, like, there's a thing on DraftKings where you can share your bets with each other. So every bet we make, it goes into the LTYC thing. Yeah, I put all 5.5 on Gamrot. So now I'm at like 8.8 or
That's
something.
sick. What was
Right?
his? Where do they have the odds? Oh, minus
Minus
160.
160.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think I actually got him a little worse than that.
Yeah.
I think it was like minus 166, but regardless.
Did you do it before the fight or
Before
during
the fight.
Before,
No, I did it before the fight. Other notes, Lucas Jones, I believe he sent them in the max, but they were all on the main event, which we'll talk about. So he had no change.
He
But-
actually just sent me his ones for this next weekend like 10 minutes ago.
Okay,
So,
okay.
we
So,
got those.
but he had no change moving in. Polance said he's up. Polance went up some more units. Can't remember though. And Danny Jones is now bankrupt. He put 44 units on the first prelim. He put all 44 units
Of a trash card.
on the first prelim of a trash card, and she lost.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious.
We talk about ruining your night.
Yeah,
dude.
man. Yeah, it's like, dude, I'm not watching
Yeah,
these.
yeah, shut it down. All right.
Which apparently he didn't miss out on much because I enjoy Jack Slack's podcast because I think he has like very good striking
Oh,
insight.
I didn't even know he had one.
Yeah, dude. Actually, he has good wrestling insight too. He's I recommend it. But this podcast, it was like 20 minutes, and the podcast episode was called, I think it was like no hyperbole. This is the worst card ever, or something along those lines.
It really was.
Yeah,
It was the worst card ever.
yeah. I mean, he made a really good argument for it.
Yeah, it was. But with that being said, I hesitate to say that, even though it is true, because so you guys know, like, I'm big on women's combat sports.
Yes.
Right. A handful of the athletes who, like, I coached the closest, right, are women.
Yeah.
You know, Brittany, Claire, and Erica. You know what I mean? So I have a daughter who ideally will win the Olympics in 2044.
Let's go.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, kind of important to me.
Yes.
And this weekend, both the big jiu-jitsu event, UFC Fight Pass Invitational, and the UFC Fight Night were both headlined by women's bouts. So that gives me pause on being like, it's the worst card ever, because it's kind of like take some of that shine. But it was the worst card ever.
Yeah, and I don't think that it had anything to do with the fact that it was like a female fight. You know? What I mean?
No. I agree too. But, like, that's why, like, I was like questioning, like, do I even project that I think this is the worst card ever?
Right.
Because, like, it does take away from some shine a little bit. But okay, let's move. The Gamrot fight. First off, Gamrot's unreal legit, dude. He's so legit. Like, I am all on board.
Also, aren't most of his losses split decisions to like good dudes?
I have no idea.
So this is I was just taught. I'm a massive Gamrot fan, like to the point where it's kind of like it doesn't really make sense. Like he
Yeah.
hasn't done anything to deserve as much as I like him, but I really do.
He's really skilled.
He's really
Dude,
good.
he's so skilled. And
How
he's
many-
skilled in the way I like it.
Yeah.
On here, I'm just gonna hide this for a second. Did you guys look at his record at all?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I know what his record is.
I don't.
You don't know his record? Yeah. How many losses do you think Gamrot has?
5.
He
He's
would
got
be wrong.
He's got three
Three.
losses.
Oh, that's it.
He's got
25
losses.
wins, 3 losses.
And aren't they all? What is it like?
That's his UFC debut against Guram Kutateladze was
That
a
dude's a beast.
split decision loss that Guram in the post-fight interview was like, I feel like Gamrot should have won that. His next loss was to Beneil Dariush. Legit. It was
Legit.
a 29-28 legit loss. And then it was
But Beneil Dariush
has been in the
perennial
top 10
top
for
10.
yeah.
yeah, and then his most recent loss was another split decision to Dan Hooker.
That's right.
That's it, yeah.
So like 3 decisions, 2 of them, some people, at least one judge thought
Right.
went to Gamrot. He's only got 3 losses. Like he just fights everyone because like people, he's kind of got like the like John Fitch, Merab, Evalayev thing where people don't really like him for some
Right.
reason, but he's like just beats everybody and he's so fun to like. His wrestling is not like lay and pray
Right,
boring.
it's not
he's
wet
like
blanket.
we're just gonna scramble.
where's is he Polish?
Yeah, but he trains out of American Top Team.
Oh, I know that because both Farman and Luke were like with him there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, I have an analogy here. Tell me if you guys think this is off. If you look at Gamrot's professional record and you looked at like Lomachenko's professional record, right? Ignore the amateur accolades, right? If you look at Lomachenko's professional record, it's like not that good
No, it's
for
actually,
a boxer. Yeah, it's
like,
actually kind of bad.
You're like, what?
But then you have like...
For someone who's world champ. Like, I think he's a multiple weight world champ too.
Yeah. And a two-time, right?
Olympic
Two-time
champ.
Olympic? Or maybe just one time?
Two.
Okay. But he's got, I think, a handful of losses, right? One of them was like...
And he doesn't have that many wins because, like, he was
Most
like
of his
fighting
career
for
was-
titles at like Fight 5, which that's normally when people are still fighting like borderline fake fights.
Yeah, exactly. But if you just watch him, you're like, he's extremely skilled, right? Would you say that that's kind of a similar thing with Gamrot, where it's like, this dude's super skilled, but people don't like him or he's not like the champ for whatever reason?
Well, I mean, I think he's not the champ because he's in the lightweight division.
Yeah.
But here goes what I got to say about the lightweight division. Aside from Khabib and Islam, right? Like,
No one's
what a competitive division.
Yeah.
What a competitive division, right? Like, if we pulled up the lightweight rankings right now, okay, we got Ilya. Like, let's not even use the lightweight rankings. Let's use our heads here.
Yeah.
All right, Ilya, Charles Oliveira,
Poirier,
Gaethje,
Hooker. Fiziev.
Well, not even Fiziev. Let's throw Gamrot in there.
Okay. Who am I?
Dude, whatever.
Are we
Okay, that's a
counting
good
Ilya?
6. That's a good 6.
Okay, sure.
All right. Out of those 6, right? Like, mix them up.
Yeah, anyone could beat anyone.
Mix them up. You're telling me if you run a round robin fight, if you run that round robin, meaning all of them have to fight all of them,
Right.
I would not put my money on one person going undefeated.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would not be like if your choices are, okay, it's even money. All right, you have to bet on nobody going undefeated or only one person quitting.
Right, yeah.
Or one person going undefeated. What would you put your money on out of those 6?
Definitely not the latter.
You think it's more likely that someone goes 5-0 than take a loss? You know what I mean? Like, that's
Right.
crazy. On even money.
Yeah.
It's basically putting in a multi-fight parlay, a 5-fight parlay on one
Right,
person.
yeah.
You'd be like, well, I think Taporia would go 5-0 there, so okay, like that's a 5-fight parlay
Right.
that you're going even money on.
Yeah, dude. Against only killers.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Where were you going with that with Gamrot?
Oh, dude, he's just like, like that. So it's like, oh, you said something about like, oh, why is he not champion or someone that's not champion? And I'm like, bro, like once you pop out Islam, oh yeah, and Arman Sarukian too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
dude,
Like
monster.
once you pop out Islam, who I do think if you put Islam in that, I think he goes undefeated.
Yeah.
But once you pop him out, it's just like the difference between, like, if we look at the rank. So I'm looking at the rankings right now. I'm going to read you guys the current lightweight rankings. Okay. Number 1, Arman Sarukian. Number 2, Charles Oliveira. Number 3, Justin Gaethje. Number 4, Max Holloway. Number 5, Dustin Poirier. Number 6, Dan Hooker. Number 7, Gamrot. Number 8, Patty Pimlet. Number 9, Benil Dariush. All right. Let's stop at Patty though. So I just read you 8 fighters. Let me throw a 9th in. Ilya Taporia. Okay, those are 9 fighters, bro. Mix them up.
Yeah.
That is so competitive. You're telling me one is definitively above the rest. One of them cannot fall to the others. Like, no, dude, that's sick, man. We're playing rock paper scissors, Spock, whatever the crazy game is.
Yeah. Dude, Gamrot's clearly the real deal.
Yeah, clearly the real deal.
I would say the one thing Jack Slack was mentioning this is that he lacks finishing ability. Is that true? Does he have any finishes in the UFC?
He's got finishes in the UFC, yeah.
Okay, well then I think you can just ignore
but
that.
I mean, he hasn't finished anyone in like the top 10.
So
you know?
that's okay.
Okay, let me
I
walk
agree.
that back. Well, first off, I'm so sorry. But let me walk that back real quick and let me talk about Gamrot and his finishing ability. I do see that being an issue. Okay? There were times in this fight against Klein here, Ludwig Klein, where I felt like Gamrot could have put himself in a better position to chase the finish than where he was. For example, he was in top side for moments in time.
Yeah.
And Klein would do what's called like an over reverse hook. All right.
Okay.
So imagine you're in bottom side control, but your inside leg, instead of bringing your knee in to replace guard like how you normally would, let's say like that's very hard, like they're pinning you good. You just kind of like lace your leg over like half guard, but in the wrong order.
Right, with like a little grapevine type thing.
Yeah. I was actually doing that with Farmon this morning, and it did not work. It did not work. Do you know what? One thing about Farmon, dude, is he is so patient. He is so he had like a handcuff on me, and like I was like pinned down and stuck, and like I could not get it out. Pushing this way, pushing that way, could not get out. Shoving his head, like elbowing him in his neck, trying to get it out. I could not get it out, and I'm like, bro, and I'm watching the clock. We're doing a long round. We're doing like I think it was a 7-minute round, and I'm watching the clock, and we were there for like 3 minutes, and I'm like, are you not bored? Like, move on. Like, try to take him out. Like, take my back. Like, you know what I mean? He's
right.
Holding it. I'm like, dude, the patience is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would have let go of this 2 minutes and 30 seconds ago, or tried to use it to, like, you know.
That's been my entire issue in combat sports.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, off that tangent. But Gamrot had some opportunities to push into the mount, which would have gave him more control for a TKO.
Right.
But opted to just like pop up and hit from top side control. And if you're doing that, you have to return to your pin.
Right.
Like you can't stay like on the swinging.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If I pop up from side control, I can get maybe 2 off, then I got to return to my pin to make sure to ensure that I maintain my control. Right? So it was even like towards the end of the third round when the fight was in the bag, and I felt like, hey, you going for the mount, let's say you go for the mount and you end up getting caught in half guard.
Right.
Versus you staying in side control.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I really think you should have went for the mount there.
Yeah, because
you know?
half guard is arguably better, but...
Well, I mean, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. At that
regardless,
point, go for it.
even a guard.
But so you're saying that Jack Slack did potentially have a point there?
I think he has a valid point.
Okay, interesting.
I think that's something that can easily, like literally, it's just like, hey...
A couple tactic changes.
Tactical changes. Yeah, and I think those can be done to get some finishes. All right, cool. By all means, Max, weigh in.
I didn't have anything. I think that's a good point that you made right there about his finishing ability being one of the things that's going to hold him back. The only thing that I see Gamrot get held back by a lot, not even held back by, but if you watch Gamrot fights, I've noticed this more than anyone else. The commentary always sucks with his fights because Gamrot does a lot of like, I love it. His reaction to getting rocked or getting hit really hard is like, I'm just going to, like, he gets dropped and he's like, oh, there's a leg in front of me now. I'm just going to grab that and start seeing what happens.
Yeah.
So you have these issues, though, where, like, no one can tell half the time. Look at Gamrot's, like, fights and his stats. See how many times he's gotten knocked down versus takedowns. Because a lot of times he'll get hit with a shot or hit with a knee, and he's just in on a leg right after it. And it's like, the chicken or the egg. It's like, did you get dropped and then shoot, or did you shoot and get hit on the way in? And the comment, and like even in against the Klein fight, he starts like getting real low in his base and kind of like creep walking towards Klein, and Klein hits him with a jab right before he shoots.
Yeah,
and the commentary's like,
and then,
and
it's
the
like the
commentary's
Sakuraba
like,
shot.
oh, did he get hit? And Gamrot's in on the shot.
They like, I do vividly remember them being like,
like,
what do you think? Like,
we
I
just
think
talked
that's-
about that with the Sakuraba shot, you know what I mean? And they thought he was hurt.
I think that's a lot
Interesting.
of the reason you see, not all of them, but some of the split decisions on his record, and some of like the issue with Gamrot really climbing to the top is because it might, like, when you're in there against him, it feels like you're being dominated, but it's weird, like to the outside eye, it's almost less dominant than it feels when you're the opponent, because a lot of times people are looking at him and it's like, he just ate a knee to the face, which would hurt 99% of people. But Gamrot's like, I'm just going to wrestle harder.
Yeah, he's like, no, I got the single leg.
Yeah. He's like, thank you for giving me your knee.
Yeah,
that's
to
a
my
really
jaw,
good point.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a weird little test you can run if you're watching his fights. Just look at how many times the commentary is like they kind of give like a, reaction. Like, did you just get hurt? When really Gamrot's like, I'm just going to start wrestling now, you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's the other thing I think that could hold him back a little bit. When you look at his record and how many split decisions there are, it's like, yeah, you know, a lot of those are because it's hard to tell, did he get hurt or did he just sacrifice, you know, a grazing shot to get to the hips? You know what I mean?
I've got something interesting for you guys about Gamrot. Who do you think he should fight next? Because I have someone I would like to see him fight, but I don't think it'll happen.
Oh, pull up them rankings, boy. I don't know. So tell me who you'd like to see him fight.
So stylistically, I would like to see him fight Arman Tsarukyan. I think that stylistically makes for a great
like
fight.
that. I like
you know,
that.
it's a rematch, right?
Oh, they fought?
Yeah, Gamrot's got a win over Arman.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
5-round.
Oh, didn't they offer
main
that to
event.
Arman and he said no?
I think Armistead was like disrespectful.
That's
They were
right.
offering it to him.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Disrespectful. It's an opportunity for you to get that lick back.
Yeah, to just cement yourself where you are. Otherwise, time will go
Yeah,
by.
I mean, I think Gamrot, man, Pimblett at 8.
crazy, right?
Well, I guess like who's his biggest win?
Exactly. Chandler.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
but he just looks so good. Yeah. Okay, that's crazy. All right. So let's move off this fight. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Let's keep that air going.
So let's
talk about the main event. Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. All right. What'd you guys think of that fight?
Nothing.
So it's crazy. From my recollection, it's the second latest a fight has been pulled.
What's the first?
I can't quite recall, but for some reason I want to say who's the dude who's got like super long legs.
Stefan Struve.
No.
Don't you remember he had heart palpitations before?
Yeah, but someone was in the cage.
Oh.
Someone actually made the
made the
like
walk.
first fighter walked out and then second fighter didn't.
Wasn't there something?
What's the dude? Chad something or other. Maybe it's not Chad. He's from Texas. I definitely know he's a Texas dude. Chaz Skelly. Is it Chaz Skelly?
I don't know.
Not he was in the cage.
Right.
Somebody was in the cage.
So, correct me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't when Kimbo Slice got knocked out by Seth Petrozelli, was
Yeah.
that Elite XC?
Elite XC.
And then that company just fell off after that, right?
Yeah.
So, Ken Shamrock was supposed to fight him. Am I correct in that?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like somebody.
Yeah, somebody. It
was
was
supposed to
somebody.
fight him.
but
And didn't they
Petros-
like fall on a pipe like right before the fight started or something?
No. The Seth Petrozelli switch happened at least that earlier that day, if not even earlier.
Okay, I seem to remember someone like in the locker room or something like slipped and like hit their head on a pipe or something. But
Right,
maybe
you might be right. Maybe you're right. But even
I
then,
could also be mixing
even then, it's still
stories.
earlier than this.
Right, yeah, for
But there's
sure.
definitely one later because there was definitely somebody in the cage. I believe it was at the Apex.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Buffer was not the announcer. It was the other guy. What's his name? Jose Martinez or something. What's his?
Something Martinez, but
Yeah.
I've got it here. It's Chaz Skelly left waiting in the octagon after Jamal Emmers is unable to make the
There we
walk
go.
due to back
There we
spasms.
go.
Nailed
And
it.
Will, I think you're thinking of it might be Kevin Randleman. He had his head on like a pipe and knocked himself out.
That sounds
You know what I'm talking about?
familiar.
There's no way Kevin Randleman was going to fight Kimbo.
No. That would have been a
it's-
different fight.
it's
I'm
getting the
mixing
events
something
mixed
else
up.
Okay.
Why did Kimbo end up fighting Seth Petrozelli? I remember that being like kind of a late thing.
Wasn't that supposed to be Shamrock?
It
That's what
was
I
supposed to be
thought.
Shamrock.
I don't remember why
and then
Shamrock
they pulled Seth off the prelims.
Bro, how about me picking out because Chaz Scully, he's got like a short torso for his
I
like,
couldn't
like his
pick
body
that.
build is like
Right.
he's just got like looks
It's
awkward.
like a spider.
Yeah. He had a super quick Darce once, like super quick, like
That's sick.
here we go. Yeah, look at him.
Oh yeah. He's got yeah.
Oh wow, Chaz Scully left waiting in the octagon.
He's got
Alright.
a weird build though. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, Macy Barber, the report is had a seizure. They played like what do they call that? Do you know the term for when they play like the
Like the
pre-fight
promo.
the pre-fight promo like that leads into the walkout? They had a term. They're like we played the DC
Teaser
said
or
it,
something.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So walkouts were canceled. Main event was canceled. I was like, so Gamrot had just fought, right? And I may have not been like fully in
With
like
it.
a clear state of mind.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm nodding.
Yeah.
And I remember just kind of like nodding back and just being like, what is happening? And like it was over. And I was like, I thought I fell asleep for the whole, because that's normal for me.
Right.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I'm there. And then the next thing, I'm back. And I'm like, I just missed a half hour.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just fall asleep, you wake back up.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, dang, I just missed the whole fight. And then I realized it was just like a quick, like, 2-second.
I gotta
nodder.
stop making fun of you for that because that has started happening to me like in the last like year.
Oh, dude. Yeah. And look at your age. You're catching up. You know
am.
what I mean? Yeah. It's when it starts. You just start nodding. Yeah.
Start saying things like, "Why do they do these so late?"
Yeah. Dude, yeah. So thoughts, guys, thoughts.
Okay, so obviously it's the right choice to pull Barber, right? Like,
Well, I mean, I think like medically, like it's pretty like clear you have to.
Yeah, of course. Someone has a seizure. You know what I mean?
Like I don't think a doctor could be like, oh, suck it up, brother.
Right, yeah, exactly. And also, even like there are certain things where like, you know, you might try to hide something from a commission, right? Like everyone's done it. Oh, my finger hurts a little bit. You know, something that's like not that important. But even if like her team saw that, it's like you have to call it, right?
Yeah,
so like
absolutely.
I think we can all agree that that wasn't a case of like, oh, I just didn't want to fight, found an excuse. Like very clearly.
No, I mean, dude, Macy Barber has how many UFC fights? She fought people who fought for the title. She fought Caitlin Chukagian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Clearly, it's not a situation like that, right? So that's why I saw it was like I thought it was a little odd that Blanchfield was like, she's so unprofessional, blah blah. I'm like,
well, here goes what's crazy about it is Blanchfield in the lead up was like, yeah, I don't think this fight's gonna happen. I think she's gonna pull out. She has a habit of not making it to the fight or whatever. Like through the lead up,
that is
like
bizarre.
for weeks was like, yeah, it's like I just really don't think this fight's gonna happen.
Do you think that she had okay? Well, hold on. Let's take it back a step. I would assume that it was due to the weight cut that like induced these medical issues. Would you agree with that? It's all speculation, but I would guess it had something to do with it.
She's had a rough year, from my understanding. Like a really bad staff, some other things, right? Like so there's been a rough like year going, and I think she just like probably like never. Like and like she's been out for over a year,
right?
So it's probably like I got to go now, right?
Exactly.
Like so, I don't think she was fully like ready to rock.
She's always been someone where it's like she either missed weight before or she like had rough weight cuts.
I am not aware.
I think she's missed weight at least once before, but I know she's had just a series of like. She's had a lot of medical issues throughout her UFC run.
Right.
You know, different roadblocks, blowing out her knee, just things that's like, she had a lot of hype and just little things just keep getting in the way, that type of thing.
Right.
One thing, though, I do got to say is I like watching her fight. Because she's like...
She's good. She's about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very, very aggressive.
Yeah, she's about it.
She's kind of what the UFC's like women's division needs. You know what I mean?
So who do you feel worse for? Macy Barber or Erin Blanchfield in this situation?
I don't know,
or do you just feel bad for both in different ways?
Bad for both in different ways. However, two things that are going to factor how I personally feel about it are, one, I thought that what Blanchfield said was kind of distasteful. You know what I mean? I understand you're in the emotions of it. I'm not going to try to like...
Well, and she was saying this shit the whole lead up too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's what I was going to say is, do you think that she had like a spy in the camp? Because that's like way more common than people would think. And
that's
like someone
crazy.
was like, oh, she's not going to make weight or something like that. You know what I mean? Because if that was the case, then I can see why she said that leading up to it. In the moment, when someone has a legit medical issue, I still think you shouldn't say something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So I find that a little distasteful. But then my other bit of information is, how did she get paid? Did she get paid?
She got both show and win.
Show and win?
Blanchfield got both show and win.
She got show, win, and she got 20% of Macy's.
Oh, that's
would have been
right.
Macy's purse.
Okay,
she went on the Ariel Helwani show about an hour ago, and so I've been seeing updates from
got
that
you.
type of thing.
In that case, I feel
Max
worse.
is on it.
I feel worse for Barber then.
Max, I'm not catching the glare. We're still good on the...
Yeah, I'm checking every once in a while. You're good.
Normally, I can see the glare.
Max is a killer producer and editor.
Max is killing it right now. All right. Anything you got stuff to add to that, Max?
I was just gonna say I looked it up while you guys were going over that. She has pulled out of. This will make it her 5th UFC fight that she's canceled. Barber. So I think that's kind of where Erin's like fear was coming from.
That's gonna
Yeah, and so
that's gonna be something that's gonna come up in every fight build up.
Yeah, for sure. And I can see Erin's frustration. I don't want to like sound like, oh, she's a bad person for saying that, whatever. Like, dude, I've been there. You think you're going to fight and then you don't fight. Like, that's super frustrating. And so I don't want to judge her for what she said, like, in the moment. With that said, I do find it a little distasteful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is. Overall, I'd say I feel worse for Barber, but I obviously feel terrible for Blanchfield. But she got paid, so hey, right on. Keep it moving, you know?
All right, but opportunity cost, right? Like, you know what I mean? She didn't get a win, which is progressing the career. So, yeah, you're like, oh, I got paid without having the fight, but you also did a camp without being able to progress your career.
Yeah, that's
All
also true.
Let's move. What do we want to talk about next? Do we want to go UFC 316?
I think that's where we should go next, yes.
Who's the fight night this weekend? Or no, this weekend.
Yeah.
This is it.
My weekends are kind of like not making sense to me.
Yeah, dude. Welcome to my world. It all blends together. It gets screwy.
Man, O'Malley versus Merab. Does anybody see this going differently?
I think so, actually. Yeah, I do.
That's funny that you say that. Max, you're nodding. Can I please get your input? Do you see this going differently?
Yeah, I'm taking O'Malley this time.
Okay, so you know what's crazy about that is like last week I was like, dude, I don't see this going differently. Right? This happened at Noche, right? So that's what, September?
Sounds right.
Yeah, that would have been September.
Well, I mean,
last
when's
year.
Mexican Independence Day? It's September something, right?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Racism. Okay.
Call me Joe Pyfer.
Speaking of Joe Pyfer, as we were talking about last week, like with Lucas's match against Lucas Bird, and like Downey and Joe Pyfer kind of chirping at each other, which ended up being like really cool. But Selena was telling me, because she was sitting behind Pyfer and them, that during Lucas's match, that Pyfer and his crew were very like complimentary of Lucas. Like even like
cool.
before, during, and after. They're like, "Oh wow, this is like a big opportunity for this kid," and like they were like,
Do they know who he was or no?
I don't know. Maybe because Lucas has trained there, but like he's a little guy, so he wouldn't have been like down at the big like in their room. Whenever I've been at Marquez, there's like it's like the room is kind of like shifted by like I want to say like priority and size,
Right.
and they're kind of generally like a bigger team, right? Like Pyfer is an 85. I know it's like middleweight and welterweight, but like compared to us, that's a big team, bigger size team.
Oh yeah,
right. Like our team,
our
like the
guys
average weight class is like bantam and feather, you know. So like I wouldn't know, but like I thought that was really cool that they were complimentary of them. That made me feel made me feel good. Okay, so.
Sorry, you were saying
I was saying
you were saying if we would have asked you like a week or two ago,
yeah, I'd be like, I don't see this fight going any different. Like, what could have happened in that time? Merab had another impressive performance after that fight. O'Malley has been not in the cage, right, and stuff. So it's like, what could have happened in that time? And then I asked myself, oh geez. I asked myself, I'm like, why would O'Malley take this fight? You know, like if I think this fight's going to go the exact same way, why would he take this fight? And then I was thinking to myself, okay, he either A, is planning on moving up to 145 and is like, okay, because if he loses this, his title shots at bantamweight are gone unless someone else wins it. Right? So it's like, all right, you know, maybe he's like, all right, dude, I'll do this title fight. If I win, then I'm going to suck it up and stay at bantamweight. But if I lose, I'm moving up anyhow. I'm sick of making bantamweight, you know? That ran through my head. And then also, I'm like, does he think he can win? Like, does he think it's going to be different? And I'm starting to think it is.
I definitely think it is.
Because, like, why would you take this fight? Why would you take this fight? So that actually, like, I'm like, dude, I can't believe you're taking this fight. So that leads me to believe that there's something different, and that's making you take this fight.
So I agree with your end conclusion, but I disagree with how you got there, right? I think that everyone in the UFC is going to just accept a title fight kind of like no matter what.
No, I feel like O'Malley would be the exception for that because I feel like he's got such much celebrity. Like, he's so much celebrity that he'd be like the type of dude. Okay, so for example, we've heard of people turning Paddy Pimblett. Turned the UFC down. You know who else turned the UFC down? Paul Felder turned the UFC down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, Paul Felder got offered a short notice fight against Jim Miller, and they turned it down, saying that because he felt like he wanted to be more UFC ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Develop a little more, right?
Dude, the more I learn about Paul Felder, the more I find him like very interesting,
cool. very cool, very interesting. Yeah. I mean, dude, like, what a career. Great career, both on the local circuit, regional circuit, and then in the UFC, a terrific career, and now parlaying it into, like, the commentary and analyst game.
Also, do you know he went to art school?
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, dude, like, I had no idea about that. Like, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, super great guy. And, like, you know, like, I get to call him a training partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to go out there and train with him, get ready for fights and stuff like that, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
So really appreciate that. And then he called some of my fights and has always talked very highly of me, so it makes me feel even better. You know what I mean?
He's our favorite.
Yeah, love it. But I feel like Sean O'Malley could be like, nah.
Right.
And like maybe fight someone else or whatever. Like I feel like he knows that he needs to improve skill sets in certain areas. And if he was like, I wasn't able to get that done in these past 9 months, you know, I think he wouldn't be like, well, fuck it, let's go.
Right.
You know? that leads me to believe that he got it done.
Yeah.
He got it done. So now, I don't know.
I think that he is going to make a couple improvements. One, wasn't he injured? Like he had a bad knee or something, Max? Do you know?
Yeah, he claimed that he had something wrong with him. I don't know if it was a foot or a knee, but
yeah, I don't know whether that's true or not. It doesn't really matter. But like, let's say that it was true. Like, yeah, if you fix that, then obviously you're gonna perform better theoretically, right? The other thing is that he has been out that time, but it's not so much time. You know what I mean? Whereas like Merab is still grinding his body up. Maybe O'Malley needed that rest. You know what I mean? Maybe his
I think he did
for sure. And then the other thing is if you watch the fight, like clearly Merab won. Like I think that the people who are like, oh, O'Malley won whatever rounds.
What? People were saying that?
But that O'Malley
won that fight?
Well, it's mostly O'Malley who's saying that.
Oh, but he does that.
Exactly.
That's his thing.
But,
like if he loses, he's like,
yeah, exactly.
Doesn't count. Wasn't
but
trying.
There are like fans who are like, no, like they agree with that, right? I don't think
Okay.
it's like a widely held thing, but like people talk about it being closer than, and I mean it wasn't like a runaway for whatever. Regardless, I think that Merab definitely won, but it's not like it was like Merab smashed him and there's no chance of O'Malley getting better. I think the big thing I saw, if I was O'Malley's coach, I would, first off, I wouldn't blame the lights at the Sphere. That's ridiculous because if it bothered him, then it also bothered Merab, and then like it's evened out again. But regardless, I would be like, listen, every time you fainted and then moved forward or threw something and stepped through again and continued to throw, that's when you were landing. Like you have to not be afraid of the takedown and go forward. And also if I were O'Malley, I'd be like, oh, I don't believe he can finish me. You know what I mean?
That's the big one. I was actually going to get to that.
And so that gives you
he
the
did 5 rounds.
confidence.
He didn't get finished. It's like, all right, so maybe that gives him more confidence to get a little more loose.
Exactly, and start hucking because we know
And he's like, all right,
dangerous.
so what? I drop a first round due to a takedown? Like, I'm not going to, there's going to be a second round.
And also, O'Malley has the power that even if he loses 4 rounds very decisively in that 5th round, and he has like good conditioning too, he could put him out. You know what I mean? So like, if I were Tim Welsh, I'd be like, listen, here's the deal. You're going to walk forward nonstop. You're not going to bite on any of his feints because it wasn't any effective feints. It was just kind of like schoolyard feints and then shoot. You know what I mean? And you're just going to walk forward and you're going to huck and you're going to send a lot of knees. You're going to end combinations with, knees up the middle, uppercuts, whatever. And, eventually you'll crack them and then you're going to stay patient and put them away. That's what I would personally say. And I believe he can do that. Now, if I had to just like really objectively bet on it, I would still probably go Merab, but I'm not objective at all. I like skinny strikers. I'm going O'Malley.
Dang, okay, you're going to O'Malley. Maxie's going to O'Malley because Max really identifies as like a Sean O'Malley type. They have the same build, same style, same haircut, same tattoos.
Yep.
But Max, you are going O'Malley, and tell me why.
Yeah, I'm taking O'Malley. I think that similar to what you said initially, like I do think that he's taken a lot of accountability for how he prepared and how the fight went. Like I think that in the public initially he was like, oh, I won, yada yada, like I wasn't sure, like he said, like I wasn't trying, that type of thing. But I do think that he's going to make a lot of good adjustments this time. The whole social media thing is a small thing, but it tells me like, all right, you're going to like put a good effort in. You're not just going to go in with the same game plan as
I do
last
think
time.
It's indicative of other deeper things.
Yeah,
in
that's
his
what
life,
I'm leaning at. Like, I don't think getting off social media is going to get him the win, but it makes me think that he's trying to make some adjustments here. And I think that if you're going to beat Merab, you need to be able to, like, you have to put him away. It's kind of what we said, like with the Gamrot thing, like you can't not be able to finish him and expect to win. Mm-hmm. You have to be someone like Sandhagen who can do damage in all areas of the game, whether you're on your back or you're on the feet, or you have to be someone like O'Malley who has that ability to just like take 2 seconds and put it away and finish it right there. You have to be able to like damage him and put him away like that. So I'm taking O'Malley.
Nice. All right.
Well, so we've both given official predictions. Mike, who do you have winning?
I'm going to take Merab.
I think that's the smart choice.
I'm going to take Merab 49-46.
Now, let me ask you one other thing. Does his broken toe factor into it to you at all?
Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah, no.
That's how it always goes.
He's just gonna.
Yeah. Every conversation with Merab is like all these good reasons why the other guy's gonna beat him and all these it's strategies and stuff. And that's like, but like Merab's gonna win.
Yeah. Again,
that's just how it always goes.
Let it be clear. I'm choosing O'Malley with my heart, not my brain. But I'm still hoping he wins.
All right.
And I think it's like possible, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it's a possibility.
Yes,
but
I do.
We're just looking.
I'm not going to be putting money on Merab at -300. No way.
Yeah.
No way am I going to bet 3 units to bring back one.
I
Shot.
might look at what the odds are for Sean to win by KO or TKO. That might make sense.
That might make sense.
But we'll see.
All right, let's move it down. We've got Juliana Pena defending her bantamweight title against Kayla Harrison. Is Kayla Harrison the biggest favorite in UFC title history by the challenger?
By the challenger? I can't think of anyone who might have been.
Well, first off, she's a 6.5 to 1 favorite, which is already up there for title fights in general.
What were the odds with Jones and Cormier? Because Cormier had the title, right, when Jones came back from the drug thing, right?
I thought the second fight was the drug thing where he tested positive. The second fight was the one that turned to a no contest.
So, was there ever a point then where Jones was technically the challenger or no?
Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter if he won or lost the fight. It's just about the odds going in.
Right.
But the second fight is a no contest.
But you said as the challenger going in.
There's no way he was a minus 650.
Yeah, probably not. I'm trying to think who else maybe. Man, I got nothing popping in my head right now.
Dude, I can't think of any.
Yeah, you know that TikTok is going to be like, we know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the biggest. So right now what I'm seeing is Kayla Harrison, UFC title challenger, going against UFC champion Juliana Pena. And Kayla Harrison is a minus 650 favorite, which translates to 6.5 to 1.
And I agree with those odds.
She might be the biggest. If anyone else knows one, then call me out on it, but I can't find anything.
What was GSP versus Sarah?
That's the first one I looked up.
Oh,
GSP was only minus 400.
It's a good call.
Yeah. I mean, he just got knocked out by him, so that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was the first one that I looked at.
And again, this is guys, if you're gonna come hitting with it, remember, come correct. Not the biggest difference in the fight, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Ronda was, like, a minus 1,300 against Betch Kohea.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Ronda was the champ, not the challenger. It's the challenger being such a favorite over the champ.
Have you seen some of the comments of our trivia questions?
No, I won't look at that stuff.
Yeah,
Because if I look at I will quit the podcast.
There were a lot of people who misunderstood. There was a lot of positive stuff, too.
Oh, I saw some of people, like, saying the wrong answers, thinking they're so correct, and I'm like, that's not the question, dog.
Yeah. But hey, man, we're casuals. I'm fine with that. I think Kayla's gonna win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, book it. Yeah, 100%.
No offense to Pena, but I think that she's one of the least skilled champions we've seen.
She does have a win over Amanda Nunes, but yeah, no, I'm Kayla Harrison.
Yeah,
That's it. Now, does she finish her?
I would. That's a hard question. I don't know.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, I could see a good. Yeah, and my heart says yes, but I don't know. Max, who you taking?
I think I'm a little bit closer on this one than you guys are. Yeah, I know.
What are you seeing?
I'm seeing
I saw your face look dumb too.
Insane. I was seeing what?
Your face looked dumb too. Tell me about it. You made like this. You went.
I'm my bad.
Read what you want to read. Let's go. Say it.
I'm seeing that it's a crazy weight cut for Kayla. I don't think she can make that too many times. Like, even if she wins this, which, to be fair, I would much rather Kayla win this. I do not like Pena. But I think that if it's a pretty ridiculous weight cut for Kayla to make. If she makes it this time, like, I don't think she's going to make it 3 more times.
Yeah, let's not forget, like, her judo weight class, which she won the Olympics at, was in the 170s.
Yeah. Like, this is...
I think it was like 172.
Absurd that she's doing this. She hasn't had to go 5 rounds with someone... I'm not going to say like Pena, but she hasn't had to go 5 rounds with someone who I think won't be intimidated by the physicality of Kayla. Like,
you don't think she'll be intimidated by the physicality of
Kayla? I think Kayla can out physical her for the first 2 rounds, but after that, how does she start to hold up? And Kayla's striking, like, it's been fine, but it's not like Nunes' striking. Like, Juliana like rushes forward at Nunes, and in the second fight, Nunes is just pinging her with anything she wants. Because Nunes is a much better striker. She's got that KO power. Kayla can't do that. She has to be the one going forward. She has to grab Pena. She has to put it on the mat.
I disagree.
I think she will, though.
I think that even if Pena goes forward, it still helps Kayla.
Yeah, I think they just both go forward then.
Yeah.
I think it can, but I don't see Pena having to do that against Kayla. I don't think she's going to have to sprint at her kind of with like a DDP style.
I don't think
rush.
she has to. I think she will.
She might, and then in which case Kayla just throws her on her head, and this is over in 2 rounds.
Now,
but
real
I think
quick.
if it goes past like 2 rounds, I think Pena can win the last 3.
That's an interesting take. Now, real quick, going back to what you were saying with the Olympics, I believe that Kayla's been natural the whole time, especially being in the Olympics with like WADA testing. Do you think that
the WADA testing is not the issue; it's the USADA testing in the Olympics. Like the USA athletes are being tested by USADA. WADA is not like showing up as frequently as USADA is.
it's a fair point? So wait, USADA does the Olympic athletes? No,
yeah,
I didn't know
all
that.
the and RUSADA does the Russians, and that's how they were able to cheat. Yeah, WADA is like probably like only. I don't think WADA is like showing up randomly. I think WADA is administering the drug tests at the events,
Interesting.
and it's USADA and RUSADA.
Okay.
Doing your like random drug test showing up at your house, which is how like I think the Russians did. What's that one documentary called on them?
Icarus, I believe.
Icarus, yeah. And the same thing happens in college sports too. Like you get tested if you're getting tested in college sports, you are most likely getting tested primarily by your college and not by the NCAA.
Interesting.
If you get tested by the NCAA, it's likely at nationals. Right. So why does your college test you? To get ahead of it. So that way they bust you before the NCAA does.
It doesn't reflect poorly on the school.
Poorly on them. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think that the level of drug use in the UFC is equal or less, and you can look at different time periods, to that of Olympic athletes?
You didn't give me an available option of what it really is. Is this the Slumdog Millionaire? You only write the wrong answers on the mirror for me?
No.
You said equal or less. Is UFC equal or less?
Equal.
Son, more. Significantly more.
Yeah.
Fighters in the UFC are finding their way into using steroids than Olympic athletes.
Right. Now, do you think that's what I was trying? Sorry, I worded that incorrectly. What I was trying to
get
get
me
at,
equal or less.
Now, do you think that when USADA was the testing agency for the UFC, that they were about equal then?
No, I still think more UFC fighters were able to use steroids and find their way around it. First off, I think there's more money
in
it, so that gives you more of an incentive and more of resources to figure out how to stay ahead of the testing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you agree with me then that I believe Kayla was natural forever?
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. Because all getting back to what Max was saying about the weight cut. If she was juicy and then she came off, then I'm like, oh, well, then you're going to lose a lot of that mass naturally and the weight cut won't be as difficult. But in your defense, I do think that she was natural. And so I think you're right. Like that weight cut is like a very serious issue.
But I wonder like her, I'm not thinking steroids at all. I'm thinking natural. But like if you look at her right now, shredded, chiseled, like sculpted, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder what she looked like at 172, right? Like, first off, what weight classes are there in judo? For example, if that's women's freestyle wrestling, that's above heavyweight.
Right.
The heaviest weight class in women's freestyle wrestling is 76 kilos, right? 76 kilos is roughly 167 and change pounds, right? So any woman above 167, like you have to make 167 to wrestle heavyweight.
Right.
To wrestle heavyweight. So if you can't make 167, you can't wrestle. So I wonder how much higher judo goes than that. You'd think it'd be like roughly comparable. So was she the heaviest weight class? Is 72 kilos the heaviest weight class in women's Olympic judo, or 70? Not 72. So she would have been 78 kilo.
Women's judo has 7 weight classes. There's 48 kilograms, 52, 57, 63, 70, 78, and then above 78.
Oh, so there is So there is, so it's like 78 plus, right? So she's 78, which again, I believe is 172 pounds. Okay. And there's 78 plus, like she might not have been, she might like, think about it. Like, it's like, okay, you know, like, you can be a little doughier, like at
Yes.
205
Right.
than you can be at like
So
155.
she was not fat, but she definitely was.
She might have.
Yes.
You could probably compete at that weight class with some body fat.
She had a higher body fat than she does now, and also,
I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know
I do.
anything. I don't
Just
know.
visually, I 100%.
I'm assuming that based off of the fact that she's making 35s now. I'm assuming that. But I don't like. I wasn't there. I don't know. I didn't know her. I didn't even know of her.
So this is just me judging off of pictures, but I'm very good at judging body fat. I mean, like it's important part of my career. Definitely, she was holding more body fat when she was an Olympian, and I think that something we need to consider too is it's easier to cut weight from a lower body fat percentage.
Cut water weight from a lower body fat percentage.
Yes. So in that way. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still going Harrison.
I'm going Harrison.
But Max, I see your point. Are you taking Pena?
I am taking Pena.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Let's go.
Mix it up a little bit.
All right, Mike. Here's your chance to get
Harrison.
ahead. All right, next fight.
Oh, Joe Pyfer, Calvin Gastelum.
Max, you had a really interesting point about this before Mike showed up. We discussed this of why you think this fight got made.
Well, it was already made.
No. In the first
but
place.
the initial.
Oh, before the Mexico
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my take is that this is the UFC being tired of Kelvin missing weight at welterweight. They were like, "Oh, you want to be a middle? This is like you want to be a fighter type meme. It's like,
Yeah.
so you want to be a middleweight? Okay, here's
like the hardest hitter.
hitting middleweight that we have.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
also, I mean, he fought for the middleweight title.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think anybody who fights for a title in that weight class can confidently call themselves that weight class.
Oh, dude, for sure. It's just like
yeah.
Joe Pyfer is one of those dudes where it's like even if you win, it's not going to feel good. And also, Gastelum, like he absorbs a lot of. I mean, do we have his striking strikes absorbed or whatever
I
for
can
a minute?
pull that up.
Like he gets hit more than I would have guessed the average person, and he will get hit by Pyfer, and Pyfer has dynamite in his hands.
He does.
So, Max, I tend to agree with you that they're like, all right, we're going to give you a matchup that is a nightmare regardless. You know what I mean? Mike, who do you have in this?
Just for the record, Kelvin's strikes landed per minute is 3.74, and his strikes absorbed is 3.48.
Yeah, that's not great.
No, that's not great.
Okay. Brady beat Calvin. Oh, gosh.
You want me to
You
go
guys
first?
go first.
I've got Pyfer for sure.
Yeah, my only question is, can Pyfer be the first guy to put him away with like shots, not just submission?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
33.
But keep in mind, it's a lot of damage, 33. You know what I mean?
I'm going Pyfer. I'll go Pyfer as well. Oh, I'm going Patchy Mix, boy.
Me too.
Dude, no way he's a dog.
Oh, dude, we got to get on
Give
that
me my
ASAP.
phone. Give me my phone. All units on Patchy Mix. All units on Patchy Mix.
On DraftKings, Patchy Mix is a minus 175.
Oh.
All right, we can't trust. So now, hey guys. Oh, I mean, I guess it's so late it wouldn't be in the clip. But what if Kayla Harrison is not a minus 650? And we have that whole thing. If that happens, if she's not a minus 650, and we make a clip out of that, cut that clip, like get rid of that clip.
She's minus 625.
Okay, so close
keep
enough.
it in.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going Patchy. I feel like this. Well, obviously the line's not what this is, but even with that, I still think it makes sense because like Patchy Mix is the man.
Yeah, dude. And like, one thing too, like what Patchy Mix's grappling is next level. And you know what the number one thing that lets me know how next level his grappling is? He's got a 2-0 win over Jesse Florentino.
I mean, dude.
Anybody who can notch a win over Jesse Florentino has world-class
Best grappler in my mind.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all there is to it. Clip it. All right. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland.
This one's interesting.
I'll go Luque.
Oh, I'll take Holland.
Okay, cool.
I'm taking Luque.
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
I think those are good picks, but
Good
I'm a
picks,
Holland
good
fan.
Good picks.
I like Luque too, but Are we going
Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van.
we going with our guy?
I'm probably gonna go Joshua Van. Yeah.
Me too.
Although, yeah, I'm gonna go Josh Van.
Yeah, we got Van across the board.
Cool,
All right.
cool. All right, keep it moving.
So far, I mean, we're on the prelims, so this is. I mean, it's a numbered card, so it's going to be a good card.
Yeah.
But I'm in.
I'm down to not do anymore if you guys want.
None of those. Nope. Don't care. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. That's it for us.
Lovely.
Nice. That's UFC 316 in a nutshell. Slide a dap, rat trap.
It's an exciting card.
Exciting card. All right, so John Jones, Tom Aspinall.
Mike, I've got a question for you.
Tell me what you're feeling. Yeah.
Do you think that this fight happens?
Yeah.
You do? Mm-hmm. Do you? Okay.
I think it happens in November.
Do you think that the UFC is waiting to announce it until?
I think the UFC. I think all three of them are in on it.
Well, you saw the thing about John being like, "Oh, I'm legally not allowed to talk about it because like we all."
And then you saw the thing about Tom, saying something like funny too. I can't remember now. And then Dana was on a live, and he was like,
"It's done."
Like, you know, I think they're gonna fight at UFC 3 whatever, Madison Square Garden, November.
Okay, so I would lean towards it will happen, but I'm less confident than you are. My big concern is, why is the UFC waiting on announcing it? Do you think they want the fan buzz to like really continue to grow?
I think they see the fight growing with the trolling and with it not.
See, I feel like that has already peaked. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's on the way down. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
So I don't know. I think the fight's going to happen.
Okay. Now I have one last question about this. Are you more confident in Jones beating Aspinall, or are you more confident in Islam beating Topuria?
I'm more confident in Islam beating Topuria.
Interesting. Okay. I think this is.
I mean, you're talking heavyweights versus lightweights. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cool. I mean, I think that's pretty much all I got on that.
Yeah, I would go 85-15, Jones Aspinall, 90-10, Islam Topuria.
Interesting.
All right, cool. Hey, I want to talk about Penn State wrestling.
Okay.
And freestyle, making world teams and things like that. Max, could you pull up Twitter and could you go to my Twitter? Because I'm going to have stats on there. All right. Go to my replies, because it'll be a reply. Right there, that one. Yeah. Can you zoom in so I can just see a little better? Okay, now go down just a smidge. There, I'm good. Okay, guys. I got to talk to you guys about freestyle wrestling. Okay? So, you guys are aware what freestyle wrestling is, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So, in the United States and the NCAA, we wrestle folk style. We know that. We know it's the best for MMA. Chael Sonnen actually went on a great, tangent, as he does on why. He was on FRL, my favorite podcast.
Oh, sick.
He did a whole hour. He's so funny.
Just spitting fire.
Just straight up spitting fire, lying a bunch, making shit up left and right, citing completely wrong stats.
How many times did he say, "Let me just share for you," or "I'm only sharing"?
Yeah. Oh, dude, all the time. He's the goat. But he was in freestyle and Greco, it is not about controlling someone after, right? And in MMA, when you take someone down, you need to keep them down, right? And that's what we do in folk style. But Penn State, as we know, the best college team in all of wrestling. Let me tell you something. So there's 4 teams that we send to the World Championships, okay? And that there's freestyle, Greco, and women's, all right? But we send 4 teams per that. So 12 teams total to the World Championships. Okay. But we're only caring about men's freestyle right now for the sake of this conversation. There's 4 teams. We send a cadet team, a junior team, a U23, and a senior team. Okay. Cadets, we're going to refer to that as U17. So that's 17-year-olds and younger. All right. Juniors, that's U20.
Okay.
Okay. So 20-year-olds and younger. U23, it's in the title. Seniors is the main division, right? You have to be 18. You have to turn 18 in that calendar year to wrestle seniors, but it's whoever is the senior world champ, that's the real world champ.
Is it kind of like jiu-jitsu, where it's just because it's masters doesn't mean that you have to be over 30 or whatever to compete in it? You could be 18 and compete in it. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, I'm saying the opposite of that. Okay, masters, you do have to be over 30 to compete in it. You cannot be 18 and compete in masters.
Or sorry, I meant the other way around.
Yeah.
You could compete in adult division if you are a masters person.
Yeah, you can compete down into adult. So let's just seniors okay. the only one contested at the Olympics is seniors, right? It's the like, it's the open division.
But it doesn't exclude 18-year-olds is what I'm trying to say.
Right, no, it doesn't exclude 18-year-olds. You have to be 18, but you could be anywhere between 18 and 75, but it's the real one.
Right.
Right? Okay, so only 3 of those age groups, 3 of the teams, include what could be college kids. Right? Like, because there's no 17-year-olds, especially in wrestling. In wrestling, we're notorious for doing a holdback, which I've found is actually really common in almost all sports now. But like, you know, like it's kind of rare for people to graduate at 17 now anymore, right? Regardless, and then it's kind of not rare to hold back now.
Right.
So a lot of people are graduating at 19 now, but I'd say most commonly 18. So there's nobody who has already finished their freshman year of college and is still eligible to compete under 17.
Right.
So we disregard that. All right. So there's 3 teams that college kids could possibly make, right? And a lot of like freshmen might still be U20 eligible because, you know, and stuff like that. So out of those 3 teams, there's 10 weight classes. So there's 30 world team spots. Okay. Out of those 30 world team spots, Penn State already captured 12. 12 of the 30. 20 are already spoken for. The only ones left, like the U20 team, that happened, like the U20 and U23 teams were made this weekend. So this weekend, we already know those 2 teams. The trials and nationals were this weekend. The seniors, they have final X. So what they do is they narrow it down to their last 2, and then they do a dual meet on a special day so they can do a big production out of it, like a fight card. That happens June 14th, all right? Penn State already has 12 of those 30 spots locked, and they could possibly get 5 more at Final X on June 14th. If they do get all 5 of those, they will make up 57% of all world team spots.
Dude, that's nuts.
Bro, you want to know what's most nuts about it? I said Penn State. I didn't say the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. So that doesn't count Kyle Dake, Kyle Snyder, Carter Starachi, Aaron Brooks. Doesn't count any of the people who are already graduated. Everybody I'm talking about will be on the Penn State team this season.
Bro, that's nuts.
This season, they'll be on the Penn State team. Let's start at the top. 125, Penn State's 125-pounder, Luke Lillidahl. He will be the U23 team rep. Okay? He may also be the senior world team rep. He's wrestling in Final X against Spencer
can you
Lee.
do both?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. He may also be the senior rep. Now, if he makes the senior team, he might be like, you know what, I'm not doing U23.
Yeah,
so
and
I'm
give
gonna
up that
focus on
spot,
seniors.
right.
But U23s happens after, so he doesn't have to decide that until after the Worlds. So, right there, that's Penn State's 125-pounder. Penn State's 133-pounder, Marcus Blaze, is the U20 and U23 team member. All right?
Dude.
Okay? Right? Penn State's 157-pounder, PJ Duke, is on the U20 team. He's on the U23 team, and guess what? He's in Final X. He might be on the senior team, right?
That's crazy.
Then Penn State's 165-pounder, Mitchell Messenbrink. He's on the U23 team, and he's the favorite at Final X to make the senior team. Penn State's 174-pounder, Levi Haynes, is on the U23 team, and he's the favorite to make the senior team. Penn State's 184-pounder, Rocco Welsh, is on the U23 team. Penn State's 197-pounder, this year's national runner-up, Josh Barr, is on the U23 team, and he's in Final X. He's not the favorite, but he's in Final X to make the senior team. Penn State's heavyweight, Cole Mirasola, is on the U20 team. Penn State's backup, 197-pounder, Connor Mirasola, is on the U20 team, and Penn State's backup, 174-pounder, is on the U20 team.
Dude, that's nuts.
So there's 10 starting weight classes in college wrestling.
Yeah.
8 of the 10 have people who are guaranteed on world teams. And then they have 2 backups who are on world teams. Hold on. Let me blow your mind. One more second. Penn State's possible 141-pounder. So right there, if we take the top 8 guys that I had listed, Luke Lillidahl, 125, Marcus Blaze, 133, then we're missing 141 and 149. Okay? Then we got PJ Duke at 57, Mitchell Messenbrink at 65, Levi Haynes at 74, Rocco Welsh at 84, Josh Barr at 97, and Cole Mirasola at heavyweight. So that's all the weight classes. We're missing 41 and 49. 49 is Shane Van Ness. He didn't wrestle in this offseason, I'm assuming due to injury, right? Penn State's possible 141-pounder, Masa Ono.
Oh, the Japanese kid.
The world champion.
Dude.
The world champion. Right? So he's wrestling at Penn State this year, but there's a chance he gets 1 year. They give him 1 year of eligibility coming from Japan to the NCAA because he already did some college in Japan.
Right.
So they're giving him 1 year of NCAA eligibility. He may redshirt this year to get more custom with folks, though.
Gotcha.
But let's say he does the lineup. He's the world champ. We're not talking about making a team. Not only is he the world champion, he was the U20 and senior world champion last year.
Dude, that's
in the same year, right? So, dude, they could have 11 kids on their world team that account for 19 world team spots, and one of them's already the world champion in 2.
Dude, okay, you know what else is crazy? You just mentioned that...
You want to know what else is crazy? Luke Lillidahl could have did U20s as well. He's still U20 eligible. In fact, not only is he still U20 eligible, he's the defending, reigning U20 world champion. But he didn't do it to focus on training for seniors to go against Spencer Lee.
Dude, that's so nuts. Wow. Penn State's killing it. I have a question for you, though. So, or I guess not a question, but so in the same way you just said that it's Ono, right?
Yeah.
That he's
Ono.
taking some time to get acclimated to freestyle.
Acclimated to folk style.
Acclimated to folk style. How many of the guys who are in Final X are going against guys who have been out of folk style and have been competing?
That's
only
a great
in freestyle?
question. Let's see. Okay, so Luke Lillidahl is going against Spencer Lee. Spencer Lee was a 2023 college grad. So he's been freestyle only for just 1 year. This is his second year of freestyle only. At 61, Marcus Blaze is going against Vito Arujal. Vito Arujal was also a 2023 grad. No, what was he? 2024. He was a 2024 grad.
Okay.
So he's only been 1 year full freestyle, but he's also he was a world champion in 2023 and a world bronze in 2024.
So he's acclimated. To
he's acclimated, but still only 1 year.
Right. Yeah.
Just freestyle only. PJ Duke is going against Yanni Diakomahalis. Yanni Diakomahalis, 22-23, was a 2023 grad, so still only 2 years. Mitchell Messenbrink is going against David Carr, who beat Mitchell Messenbrink in the NCAA finals in 2024. So he's only 1 year full freestyle. Levi Haynes is going against Evan Wick. Evan Wick was, I think I'm going to say 2023, 2022 or 2023, so 2 or 3 years. It's not that much. Josh Barr is going against Trent Hidley. Trent Hidley was a 2024 grad, so he's only 1 year out. That's it.
Either way, these are guys who are going back to college, and none of them are wrestling against anyone who's in the same situation.
Right? Yeah. No, there's no college versus college senior level match.
That to me is kind of wild and really shows how.
Let me make sure there, because it's not just Penn State. I got to think about the other weights. So 65 is Joey McKenna versus Real Woods. They're both out of college. 70 is PJ Duke, Yanni Diakomahalis. 74, Mitchell Messenbrink, David Carr. 79, Levi Haynes, Evan Wick. 86 is Kyle Dake versus Zahid Valencia. Kyle Dake graduated in 2013. Zahid Valencia 2020. I think his senior year was the 2020 year. That got canceled by COVID. Yeah, that makes sense. 92, Josh Barr is wrestling against Hidley. Hidley's been out for a year. 97, Kyle Snyder graduated in 2018 from Ohio State, and he's going against Hayden Zilmer, who's around the same age as him. And then heavyweight Wyatt Hendrickson, who just beat Gable, so a college kid, is going against Trent Hilger of Wisconsin, who I think is only a year out as well.
Dude, that's nuts.
So out of everybody, that's pretty cool, though. Everybody I mentioned, the only two who are more than 2 years out of college are at 86 kilos, Zahid Valencia and Kyle Dake. Kyle Dake, 12 years out, and Zahid 5 years out. Dude, that's insane. Kyle Snyder and Hayden Zilmer as well. They're both 7 years out.
Dude, Penn State is really showing how world-class they are.
Crazy. It's crazy. You know what's crazy? One of the craziest things about this is, dude, there's other teams making big moves. Oklahoma State making big moves. Iowa making big moves to try to make this competitive. And Penn State just dude, there's teams where yo, this is the greatest team ever. There was a team with Zane Rutherford, Jason Nolf, and Bo Nickel all on the same team. Those are 3 legendary
Yeah.
wrestlers. We're talking potentially top 10 NCAA all time.
Yeah.
Not Penn State all time.
Right.
NCAA all time. All on the same team with each other for 3 years.
Dude.
Yet, this year, the Penn State team broke the record that they set last year.
Dude, that's so
You know?
nuts.
And it's like, yo, like, these guys, like, are these the best teams?
Yeah.
You know? And it's just crazy. We got backups on the world team.
Dude, that's so nuts.
Backups, or they, not we, they have backups on the world team. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's good? Do you think that's bad?
As a Penn State fan, I think this is awesome.
But even as a Penn State fan, there's still a way that could be bad, right?
Break it down for me.
I mean, like, okay, Penn State just unreal dominant, no competition. Wrestling's already on the chopping block at a lot of schools. It's getting cut from a lot of schools. Next thing you know, slat adapt. Instead of there being 71 Division I programs, now there's 50. Next thing you know, there's 30. Next thing you know, the NCAA quits sponsoring wrestling because there's not enough schools at it.
I can see the argument
Because
for it being
Penn State's
bad for
hoarding all the wealth.
wrestling.
Well, if it's bad for wrestling, then it's bad for a Penn State wrestling fan.
Yeah. With
know?
that said, I don't believe that this is going to show the end of wrestling. If anything, I think it like gives the casual fan something to like be interested in as a dynasty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen dynasties like this before, so. I mean, not to the level of like putting these people in the world.
Right.
Like putting these young kids making like senior world teams, like that's a relatively like new thing at this rate. Like
Yeah.
having like 5 guys still in college, like fighting for a world team spot, that's new at this rate. There's been like people in the past.
Yeah, outliers.
Zane made a world team while in college.
Gable.
Yanni, Gable, Kyle Snyder, you know. But like, dude, we're talking about 5 on the same college team. Not just across college.
And again, some of
Jaden
the
Cox.
backups. That's what tells you that like it's a systemic thing.
To be fair, the backups are on the world team at their age group. Like both of the backups,
Right, yeah.
Connor Mirasola and Will Henke,
Right.
Henkel, they're both U20, so that's juniors.
But
junior
still,
team.
like, dude, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's just it shows that again their system is working. You know,
Yeah.
man. I'm glad you broke that down because
Yeah, I just thought that was a real crazy stat. So
yeah,
there we
that's
go.
wild.
All right, cool. Shoot, I'm out. You got some questions for me?
Yeah, we don't have time to do what we're gonna do after anyway. So,
All right.
let me hit you with a question. Is this we're going back to the? You remember when I asked you to defend a point that you're not going to agree with?
Yeah.
This one's I got 2 of them. The first one's we'll only do one. Well, yeah, let's just start with this. So, Mike, make the argument that Khabib Nurmagomedov is not a top 10 pound for pound all timer.
Not enough title defenses. How many title defenses has Khabib got?
I think 2. No, Gaethje.
He's got 3.
He's got 3
okay.
title defenses and then 1 win. So 4 title wins. Title fight wins, right?
26-0 overall, I believe. Yeah.
29.
29-0. 29-0. What did he come in the UFC at? Like 19-0, 20-0? 18-0? How many UFC fights did he even have? What did he go, 13-0 in the UFC? Maybe came in at 16-0?
Yeah, he had 13 wins in the UFC.
Yeah. I mean, how many title wins does GSP have? How many title wins does Anderson Silva have? How many title wins does Demetrius Johnson have? How many title wins does John Jones have? How many people did I just name? Demetrius Johnson, GSP, Anderson Silva, John Jones. You know what I mean? Right? Like,
So you need a handful of other guys ahead of him.
I mean, you got Jose Aldo. How many did he have if you count in the WEC, which was the UFC
count that.
Of that? You know what I mean? Like, dude. Dude, we've got champions like Israel Adesanya, who's probably had more than 3 title defenses. How many title defenses
And was
does
a
Pereira
2-time
have?
champion.
Yeah, 2-time champion. How many title defenses does Pereira have? Right? He was only champion for a year and
Yeah,
probably had like 4 title defenses.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, hold
right?
on.
Like,
You
we're out
can
here
get
like
3 more.
Islam. First off, Islam, Makhachev.
Boom.
Boom.
Okay.
Right? How many legendary people did he beat back to back? Talk about Ilya Taporia putting down Max Holloway and Alexander
We'll take him.
Volkanovski. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Even, dude, I mean, I don't know. Like, here goes a crazy one. How many defenses Tyron Woodley have?
Boom, we'll take it. You've got 10.
Dude, I got 10. I don't believe any of that.
Yeah.
Khabib is for my money, he's top 3. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah, like so it's like all right, so it's John Jones, which is my number one.
Yeah.
And then you got GSP and Khabib, and I'm probably going GSP, but part of me wonders how much of that is like
fan. That's okay. Hey. Oh, actually, hold on. Along these lines, this is maybe we should have got to this earlier. Max, can you pull up the Tapology top 10 to 15 best fighters of all time?
What?
I just saw that? Dude, I just saw a post about this.
Am I on it?
Not what you'd expect.
Am I on it? Am I number 13?
Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Mike Wilkins. Mike Wilkins. Yeah, dude, it's shocking. It's really shocking.
There it is. Top. It was the.
And it's in order too. So real quick, just for the listeners, do you want to read the order they've got?
Okay, we've got George St. Pierre at number 1, John Bones Jones at number 2, Demetrius Johnson at number 3, Alexander Volkanovski at number 4, Islam Makhachev number 5, Anderson Silva number 6, DC 7, Jose Aldo at 8, Khabib number 9, and Stipe 10. Just out of the top 10, you've got Kamaru Usman, Max Holloway, Israel Adesanya, Fedor Emelianenko, and Alex Pereira. That's your top 15.
Go back to the top. All right. First off, I think we can all agree Jones has to be number 1, correct?
Absolutely.
Like, he has to be, okay?
Absolutely.
I think GSP is a great argument for number 2.
I agree.
Okay? Personally.
How is Khabib 9th?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so if you put him over Islam, right? It
Which
makes
I
no
would.
sense. If you put Islam above Khabib, it makes no sense because he has
Islam
less fights and he has a loss.
And he has a loss. And, like, his best wins are over people that Khabib also beat.
Exactly, right? And, you can make the argument he beat, 45ers, not his fault, but whatever. So, obviously, I think you have to put Khabib over Islam. I'm going to say the Spider has got to be 3. Well, okay, there's number 3, you've got a couple options. I would
Scroll
say
down.
It's either got to be...
I need to see more of the top 10. Scroll down.
It could be DJ, Anderson,
Honestly,
or Fedor.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Anderson Silva needs to be removed from the top 10.
Dude, you're breaking my heart. I understand why, but you're breaking my heart. I'm taking the run he had in the same way I'm looking at all
Brother, double-digit losses. Double-digit losses.
Hey, I can't argue that.
Double-digit losses, dude. He's a win 3, lose 1 guy. He's a 75% win percentage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. If you look at his record and you chopped it off either right after or right before Chris Weidman.
I mean, look at Stipe, 20-5.
Yeah. Anderson, the only argument I have for him, which obviously he's my favorite fighter.
Is that some of the losses at the end are just like garbage losses?
I just look at it as like we just need to look at his career as like a
Click
point
on
in time.
Anderson Silva. So I get you. I get that moment in time thing, but like that's not how you do a top 10 of all time.
Yeah, man. I can't.
You can't do a top 10 of all time.
I can't argue against it.
All right.
Keep going. Don't include any of this box.
Okay, here goes. Yeah, but here goes what I think. Here goes the losses I think you can take off. So no, both Weidmans need to stay.
Cormier was up a weight class.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking Cormier off. Go up.
Bisping, I would argue
like
he
more
won.
recent, like those losses. Yeah, I would say you cut his last loss as Bisping, so that way you take away Cormier, Izzy, Cannonier, go up. That's 3. Uriah Hall's 4,
and that's it. Yeah.
So that's still 7 legitimate losses.
Yeah, the Bisping one, you can make the argument he won that. The Yushin Okami one, obviously that's the illegal kick. That's
the other one you can take away is Weidman 2 because of the shin break.
Yeah, I mean that's legit still, I guess.
It's legit, but it's like freaky. Yushin Okami, the Yushin Okami DQ.
It's borderline. I mean, I get it.
I mean, it's a pretty clear rule.
Yeah.
The Rio Chonin flying heel hook is amazing.
Unbelievable.
I just watched that again within the week.
Isn't it crazy how good it was?
It was so good.
And dude, if you ask the average, like Max, do you know who Rio Chonin is? Like, if you've heard of him before this?
Only because of his finish over Anderson.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only reason I know.
But you were aware of him though. But like a lot of fans don't have any idea who he was, and he has one of the most spectacular finishes over an absolute legend. You know
who is that? Who's his loss to right there? Down right there. Who
I
is
have no
that?
idea who that guy is.
I can't see. Oh yeah.
No, that's a legit one.
Dude, he's 12-15 overall.
That's not
The dude
good.
has a losing record, but he has a win over Anderson Silva.
I think Anderson's one of those guys who like it
MMA
took him
was
some time
crazy
to hit his
back
peak.
in the
No,
day.
go early. I think his first fight was a loss.
It was. No.
Oh, it wasn't.
When was his first
Interesting.
MMA loss? His third fight.
Wait,
His
Oh.
third fight was his first MMA loss.
I always thought his first fight he lost. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, his
I
first
always
boxing
thought
match
his
he got
first fight
KO'd.
lost.
That's pretty crazy. That's something I think that other people don't realize too is how good his chin was back in the day.
Yeah.
Did he beat Sakurai? That's nuts.
He was supposed to fight Matt Hughes in 2002.
That's crazy.
And then Paulo Filo in 2002.
Dude, that Carlos Newton one's insane.
Yeah.
Was that for the belt?
No.
No? Okay. Interesting. Lee Murray.
Lightning
legend.
Lee Murray. Still in jail.
That's
Did he get
wild.
out?
Well, you know he
I don't
escaped
know.
one time. You know how he escaped?
How?
He dieted down and slipped through the bars.
That's amazing.
And it's crazy too because he's not a small guy.
No, he was a middleweight.
Yeah, he was legit too. He was very legit. Anyways, hold on. Go back to the original list we were looking at with the top 10 guys. Okay, so I see your
Dude,
argument.
Tony Franklin. Remember that elbow he hit him with?
Yeah, still reference that. Okay, I'm fine with Anderson not being number 3. I would argue that number 3 needs to be either DJ or Fedor. What are your thoughts
Over
on that?
Khabib?
I would say yes.
No, they have losses.
You're counting the losses as more than the title defenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking more moment in
God.
time than I am overall, I guess.
No.
So you're
Khabib
putting-
utterly don't. Here goes the thing, dude. Khabib, you could. I could make a better argument. Khabib's number 1. He's the only one on this list undefeated, right? And if you calculated the rounds he lost,
That's a good
less
point,
than
too.
Jones, less than
Yeah.
GSP. Damn, is Khabib
If you make a
number 1?
dominant score. I don't know. I think he got out too early to argue that. But let's give him number 3 then. Or do you want to give him 2 over GSP?
I don't want to do this, to be honest with you. Like, I would like to, I don't want no clips of
Okay,
this out
let me
there.
ask you this. What on here doesn't make sense to you? To me, the big things
I feel like Volk at 4 is a little high.
It is.
You know what I mean? Scroll down. I mean, Anderson shouldn't be there. Jose Aldo shouldn't be there.
It's such a bummer to say that because again, it's those moments in time, you know?
Yeah.
They had those runs.
Who's 10?
10 Stipe.
No, yeah, I got to give it to Stipe still. So, but here goes the thing. So I just pulled Anderson Silva, Volk. But Volk, I wouldn't move him out of the top 10. I'd move him out of. Why is Topuria not on this?
That's what I'm saying is by your logic, you could put Topuria over, go back up.
I mean, he doesn't have the resume to be like
You could
up,
put-
up there. He's
right,
too
but-
like fresh, but like he
How many fights does Topuria have?
11, 12, 13,
that's it?
13.
I thought it was more
No,
than
he's
15.
like 17, 18, maybe.
Okay, I'm saying 13. You said 18. Whoever's closer wins. Price is Right rules.
What we got?
16.
I win.
Hey.
Price is Right rules. Everybody knows the rules.
Yeah.
You said
Without going
13.
over. Yeah, so I win. You
18.
said 17. 13's closer to 16 than 17 when you do Price is Right rules. You never been sick from school?
When I was sick from school, I did like a Final Destination marathon. I didn't watch game shows. I
Okay,
just
well,
watched
the rest
stuff
of
I
us
wasn't
watch
allowed
The
to
Price is Right.
Mike, it was a different
And
time.
what you know about The Price is Right, it's whoever gets closest without going over.
Okay.
Now, Mike, if you do use like a moment in time,
Clip
like an
that.
era, as like counting higher than you are right now, right, and not like the total losses.
Like a run?
Yeah. Like we're including legendary runs as being
All right.
like obviously it's better if you're
then
undefeated.
it's probably Khabib number 1 because he had a 29 fight legendary run.
You put him over Jones still.
Yeah, because Jones, what's Jones's longest legendary run?
It depends on how you want to look
Click
at
on his
it.
thing. Well, I mean, how many wins
many
did
fights
he get in a row before a no contest, before a DQ, before a failed drug test, before, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I would say it went up to like the Santos fight, like all of his fights up to then. But you're counting the no contest.
All right, so that's that Daniel Cormier no contest.
I would actually argue against the no contest, interfering with because it's still an undefeated streak. I guess I would.
Well,
say.
yeah, but I mean, it's steroids.
Yeah, but then we got to take out some of my favorite guys, so I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's a fight that got overturned due to a drug suspension.
You're being too objective, Mike. I don't like it.
What about the elbow? Do you count the elbow
I would
as
take
a
that
break?
out. I would take that
Yeah,
out.
okay.
But when do you consider that run starting though? You know what I mean? Right? Like what fight are you like? Okay, now he's going.
How many from Brandon Vera on does he have? Let's just look at an undefeated streak from Brandon Vera on. What does that number look like?
I mean, undefeated, like not being defeated. It looks like what's he there? When he fought Vera, how many wins did he have? 9. And now he has 22, so 13. Because he's never been defeated again.
Well, then Khabib still has a longer undefeated streak even.
Yeah.
Okay, I see your argument there. Okay,
I don't care. I don't know if I believe it. I'm not. This is not an off the cuff discussion.
I shouldn't have blasted this out here. All right, let's wrap
it.
Yeah.
Let's call it a day, boys.
It's time anyways.
It's time. Hey, any updates on our fight picks? Like, did we haven't made picks that we need to talk about?
We didn't really make any. We didn't even talk about this last card a week ago, so we don't have any updates in those picks. We'll have a lot of them after this next week.
Okay, and we already calculated in the picks from like previous.
Yeah,
I think we discussed.
We're all caught up right now.
Okay, we're all caught up. All right, cool. All right, that's it. Hey guys, check out our TikTok, our Instagram, our hold on. What does Siri say? So whenever my group chat sends like my wrestling group chat, we're heavy on Twitter because a lot of wrestling news gets broken on Twitter. So it'll be like, oh, Luke Martin sent an article from X, formerly known as Twitter. That's what Siri says. Check out our X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook. Guys, like and subscribe to the podcast. Definitely subscribe to the podcast.
And buy some merch.
That's going to be big. Subscribing's big. Yeah, buy some merch on our store, which you can find on our Instagram, our website. We have a website.
ListenToYourCoaches.com.
It's listentoyourcoaches.com. Max has got some big news coming up. Right, Max?
About what are you thinking of right now?
Wait, so you do? I'm just joking. I was just joking. I was making shit up. What you got going on, Max?
It's a boy. Nah, dude.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
And the pod.
Max's mom is pissed. All right, that's it. We'll catch you guys next time.